Solidowski.
Yeah, so I want you to basically, so anyway, like I was saying before, it's basically anything that's on your mind. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that you're passionate about, you want to talk about, if it's a book you're writing, if it's you're on a mission for something just to kind of help mankind out, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm coming from. And I know that it seems very broad and wide, but
no, it actually doesn't. It like that summary, it actually framed like a runway.
Yeah, but my podcast is going to be about the connectivity of humans.
Okay.
And so there's this phrase that is called and I want to make sure you're coming in.
Yeah, am I good? Can you hear me?
I want to make sure, because here's the thing, it's like I don't have our headphones in.
Yeah, that's right, because we're just
freestyling it.
We're freestyling.
Now. So I can see the waveform. So
Okay.
Let me just do this.
Risking it all.
I'm risking it all.
That's it. That's how we do over here.
So I was hanging out with Mark the other day, and he was sharing with me this phrase. It's called Ubuntu, and it's pronounced Ubuntu, but it's spelled Ubuntu. And what it says is it's translated. It's a Ngani Bantu term, and which I think is South African, and it's translated to "I am because we are." And he was like, "Yeah, it's just us." And I was like, "Wow, that's like profound that we're talking about this." And I'm about to start this podcast. I've been trying to figure out a name for it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to call it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be something around that. I think I'm going to call it Ubuntu.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about everything. And so what happens is over time, you're going to have all of these stories of people and their backgrounds and different things. And, you know, it's going to be some different stuff ranging from one thing to another. But at the end of the day, it's like, I am because we are. It's like we're all humans. We're all connected in some kind of way. And so that's pretty much the gist of it. So that's why I want people to talk about whatever's on their mind, basically. And because I'm pretty interested, and I come across people all the time, and we're just
super interested.
We have these like conversations, and they're like, wow. I was like, I wish I would have recorded that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's basically what the premise is.
You're like the life conversation capture.
Yes.
Got like, you know.
Yes.
You never capture too many conversations, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically what it is. But thank you, man, for just like sitting down and
man.
Being able to chop it up
with you.
You know, yeah, man. And so for like really officially, you're my first real guest.
Yeah.
And so,
dude,
just, for
awesome,
the audience purposes, this is Mario Soley. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
We've been knowing each other for how long?
Forever.
Forever.
We were supposed to be born together, but God was like, nah, that would be too much.
That's
too much. Y'all see each other late in life.
Yeah.
There'd be too much planning time then.
That's wild.
Y'all put way too much stuff. We slow y'all down for a little bit. I'll figure it out.
Give y'all a little life first, and then I'll let y'all.
It'd be too many ideas using. It would go over everybody's head.
Exactly.
It'd be like you guys were supposed to be born in a different generation and stuff. Can't have too much intelligence in the same room with creative ideas.
So we've been having these conversations, man. It's been literally blowing my mind, and I was just like, man, I just think that it would be a good idea to like talk about this in depth. And honestly, man, I know that you've been like, you've been going through some stuff, man.
Oh, it's been a long 8 years of adventure.
Yes.
Just,
but like that has kind of helped shaped a lot of different things and a lot of viewpoints.
Yeah.
In life, for you,
for sure.
You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? Yeah. So
yeah, it's good. Like, I think the older I get, the you have to realize there's a purpose behind these adventures people have to go on, because everybody has like their own little adventure they're going on, whether they're married, they're divorced, single, or experience a death, or doing really good in their career, whatever. Everybody's going on these little journeys, and everybody have different perspectives on their journeys. But then we're connected by all these like-minded events that are happening, and ideas or things that we're all trying to adhere to, that kind of brings this all together, so to speak. Kind of how you're referring to, it's just us. Really, it just is. Like, we're in this like super divisive time where everybody's trying to like gain a level of individuality that's like almost to the point alienating everybody from everybody. It's not just us anymore. It's like everybody, and then everybody trying to make themselves different.
Right.
When we're kind of all at the mercy of God's will, right? And what he has and what he's designed this thing to be, but also too, like the natural laws down here. There's certain things that regardless of how strong you are, how much money you have, how much you believe in God, these natural laws were put into place way before, any of us born, and we all have to adhere to them. It makes me think probably the biggest aspect of like my last 8 years of, going through, not only divorce, but dating again late in life at like 36. You realize things through a different lens when you experience traumatic events. And that whole idea of like never waste a tragedy, right? I probably take that a little bit more serious than everybody else, because I probably go overdrive to understand what has happened to get to the next thing. Some people waste it, right? Some people, they'll go through a death in the family, a divorce, and they'll sit on it, or they'll let it kind of produce negative feelings and rot right inside them, and don't do nothing about it. Then you got some people who just go out and do something about it, which I'd probably be in that bucket, because I've spent too much time in my head, so I need to fix whatever it is, whatever. But along the way, you'll come to find like there's things that you missed about certain categories of life that you come to realize. You're like, oh, I missed that memo. I miss that that explanation of this topic, and then you got to dive deeper. Dating was my thing. That I got married, at 18, high school. So you just don't know. There's a lot you don't understand about dating when you're in high school and you're walking around with a marriage certificate,
right? And
then you're studying the Bible with people who are 10 years your senior, trying to give you some game, help you understand the responsibility of marriage, but be in your corner. There's a lot of that's helpful, but a lot of things we don't realize is even the advice we get in male and female dynamics, a lot of it is based on, at least in my opinion from what I've seen, osmosis, right? What other people have been taught by other people, or what other people have observed from what they observed from their parents, right? That's like the natural way to receive information. Then there's like looking at statistics and study, and like looking at, psychology, and like reading, the academian side of like a topic. Again, people fall into bad habits and or misunderstandings because when they just continue to follow the loophole of what they've been taught, whether it be marriages, whether it be in dating, they're going to follow that same trend, so like...
So give me an example. So I know that
if
you were taught certain things as this teenage kid who's like a new husband.
Yeah.
And then all of this stuff happened, and that you weren't necessarily prepared for at that time, based off of the teachings that you had.
Yep.
So then you had to go out and like learn, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Well, teach yourself. Well, learn. I guess study.
exactly. You just have to upgrade your teaching. So I think one of the things that society projects to men is that like just be yourself and the
Mm-hmm.
world will accept who you are no matter what, including your spouse. Right? That's the message to men. We don't probably give them the message they need, which is like, hey, you actually, because you are a man, you are tasked with, whether it be by God or life itself, to work harder, to keep pushing, to keep growing. But the world, whether it be, you know, Disney movies, whether it be Hollywood, whoever, they're going to, no, you're okay just how you are. And matter of fact, if you want to find this sort of mate as a man, if you want to find this woman, just be yourself. And that's going to get you to where you're going. But the challenging aspect of it, when men are dating women, right? And, you look at kind of the ingredients of women, like most women are systematic thinkers, they're very smart and intelligent, they have a really good gut for intuition. There is a level of like doing your homework that you have to do, right? Women have been mistaken by society to be like these simple creatures and like, oh yeah, there's just some, or even mystic. I have no idea what a woman is or what she
Right.
wants, right? It's either one of the two. And in this day and age, when you have like women who are elevating at such a fast velocity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got most women who have master degrees, they've got PhDs, they're also leveling up in their career, they're also leveling up in their responsibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
No longer does a woman just have the responsibilities of being at home and taking care of a house. Now she has the responsibility of doing excellent in her career. So she's sharing the same male responsibility as her husband. I'd like to believe from a science perspective, a biology perspective, that's going to create what I would say is in certain cases and probably a lot of cases, an unhealthy balance for that relationship
Mm-hmm.
or people, right? Because if men, and this is more of a, for people who believe in the biblical applications of scripture and like the whole curse and like men were cursed to work and women were cursed with something different, submission and childbearing. If you look at that, and if you fast forward today's time, if a woman's coming home, she's taking care of the kids, cleaning the house, doing all these things, but then on top of that, she gets to go work 40 hours, 45, 50 hours a week and perform at her job. And then her husband's kind of doing the same, if not less, because maybe his propensity to nurture the kids is worse. And so he may not be taking care of the kids at the level she is. So he's being rated against his not so good job at maybe doing everything that's supposed to happen for kids. Then he's got kind of like a mediocre career
Mm-hmm.
that because women are very skilled, they can level up quickly once they apply themselves to something. So she's kind of making things happen on the career side. I'm moving up. I'm getting us more money. In a lot of cases, like a lot of my friends, not in my close circle but extended circle, a lot of their wives make more money than the husband. Right? They're kind of holding the fort down financially, and so
Mm-hmm.
it does create a very interesting dynamic between the husband and wife, especially because women are hypergamous, right? And for me, I didn't know what hypergamy was.
Mm-hmm.
When I got divorced, I understood very little about that. Hypergamy is this idea that women date in the social circle or in the social market. They date somebody who they perceive as equal or above
Mm-hmm.
in the social status. So this could be financially, this could be clout, popularity, this could be intellect, competency. These things are really important to women, rightfully so, right? Because again, if you take us back a long time ago during like, you know, primitive times where it's like cavemen and it was like really no modern technology, there's a lot rested on the woman to choose the right mate to make sure she can survive another season. So if she can't assess her husband or mate properly, okay, is he strong?
Right.
Is he smart? Is he a good individual where he's not going to just leave me high and dry? There's no way for her to protect herself. But as like, in my opinion, I believe as like a natural engineering to women, God was like, hey, I need to put these things in you so that you can do congruency checks with a man to make sure that his words match his action matches his words, so that you can protect yourself. You can kind of determine, is this person a good or bad person? Sometimes I almost think that's why he didn't put a significant amount of scriptures in the Bible that were very, they were like guidance in the way that the language, is to like help women understand, okay, this is a Proverbs 45 man, right? There's no such reference, right? There's no like one-stop shop of like, women, here's the ingredients of what makes, but for a man, because of various reasons and because we're not as in tune with our intuition as women are, God spells it out. Okay, this is a promiscuous woman. This is why you need to stay away from her. This is a woman you should marry. This is a Proverbs 31 woman. These are all her roles in the way that, this would be healthy for you. None of that really for a woman, right? She can look at a few scriptures that talk about, how a man is supposed to, love his wife like Christ loved the church, things of that nature. So there's some good stuff there, but it's very like high level. It's like, man, don't be harsh. Love your wife as Christ loved the church. With men, it's a little bit more granular. It's detailed behaviors, things. And I think that is because women have a natural propensity to use that gut to kind of sense what is good or bad or what would be safe for them or not. And so there's a less need to like break something down like that. The other thing too is like women are so far more ahead than men in their competency of relationships. Again, most, girls, when they're like very young, right, playing with dolls, they're like, okay, when I grow up, I'm going to have a white picket fence. I want a dog. They start that sort of thinking very early. Boys, they're just out playing G.I. Joes.
Right.
I mean, I want to go shoot and blow something up.
Right.
They're not thinking.
They're building stuff. They're creating stuff. Being boys.
Being boys. We're not engineered in that way to just like come out the womb with competency and intellect and like forethought. We learn through hardship. Right? Girls learn through other ways. They probably learn more from not getting what they want than getting what they want. Right? Because a lot of times, the other thing about male and female dynamics is there is a different journey paths that each side has. You got men who have the hero's journey, right? When they're born, it's like as soon as possible, you got to be opening some doors. You need to be like lifting some heavy things for a woman. Okay, like right away. We need to ingrain it in that little boy that you are strong, you're going to be strong one day, and it's your job to look after women, right? Women, however, completely different journey. Their journey is one of not only acceptance, but it's also a journey of like roll out the red carpet, right? It's just like, hey, like make sure that guy's opening that door for you, right? It's dads making sure their daughters are protected. It's being able to instill in a young girl that someone should be taking care of her versus her taking care of a man. Now, some of that I feel is like modern thinking, but I feel like too, there used to be a period of time where moms did teach their daughters about, hey, in the home, this is your responsibility. You need to learn how to fold clothes. You need to learn how to cook meals. You need to learn how to handle your younger siblings so that you understand how to take care of kids. When you grow up as a woman, that's your role. But since we've kind of pretty much like done away with that thinking and changed the culture. Now it's a different, it's almost like we shift from telling women how they can be in the home, how to raise kids, how to cook, how to do all these things that are kind of absent today, to here's how to be like a man so you don't need a man.
How did this affect you in the beginning? Like when you start realizing this about women and then looking at your own life and seeing like, oh wow, this is why that happened, or this is why, you know what I mean? Like,
you know, I think you realize the things that you were taught were incorrect, right? Because, you know, you just have a different perspective.
Give me an idea. Like what?
Like, so for me, I'm married, you know, I was married like 18 years, right? There's all these like, and depending on your path in life, if you go into a church, you know, perhaps you're locked into older couples who are close to you, who give you sound advice and, you know, help guide you. Or you go to marriage retreats where you're getting like these bulks of information in like one setting where it's like, wow, okay, I'm going to remember this for years to come. And then just being in culture and talking to your friends and people about marriages and failures in your own marriages, you get all these tips and tricks and things of that nature. And so when you're kind of removed from that, because you get divorced, you naturally as a person or as a man, you're going to leverage your past like tips, tricks, the things that you were told and taught that are effective with people. And you're going to try and use that to make a better way forward, right? But I think with me, what I realized is, one, there just kind of came a point that because of the cultural change that I was, you know, experiencing of not being necessarily in church, dating in church, right? But dating like people who, you know, may have their own church that they go to or may not necessarily have the same faith at the time that I did. You realize what works for building a relationship with a woman or what works for building attraction and building things that are more permanent. A lot of the tips and tricks that I learned were incorrect and or things that women really don't look at or care for. When it decides to whether or not they decide whether or not a relationship is going good or bad, you know, or whatever like that. Which is, again, that's a newfound thing to understand, like, hey, at the end of the day, you know, all men are judged in a certain sense by the best behavior a woman's been shown by any guy in her life. So, for example, if her dad was the best person to like show her what a man is supposed to be, the character in a man, what he's supposed to be, that is going to be her reference when she chooses her husband. Man, okay, my dad was this type of man. He had character, integrity. That's who I'm going to measure my man against. If, let's say, a dad wasn't that person, and maybe it was just a different boyfriend or ex-husband, if that ex-boyfriend or husband did a substantial amount of things that that person cares about, you're always going to be judged based off that by the hypergamous nature of women, because their job is to keep themselves safe, to keep their kids safe.
so
And
if
it's
there's
an
any
unconscious
damage
thing.
done,
You inherit that, right? And that's another thing we don't talk about in society, is that with women, and I'm sure with this is with men too as well, but it's in different contexts. But if a woman has had a traumatic history with male figures, things of that nature, say if like she's had a bumpy relationship with her dad for whatever reason, there's going to be implications to how she perceives you as a man and how well she will be able to get along with you. Because again, that negative history is a systematic connection to everything, right? And it's the same thing with like a bad boyfriend in the past or just troublesome history. Whenever you date a woman with troublesome history like that, it will show up in the relationship in ways you may not understand. You may be like, man, I just asked her to do something simple. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Or, we'll have a little bit more pushback on something basic that you're like, man, why is she having a, challenge with just doing a simple thing? And a lot of times it's an uncomfortability with bad experiences that, again, that person projects onto the next person they're with.
Right.
Men, from what I've seen, typically don't do that. Men, again, I always say women are like waves, men are like rubber bands. I did not make that up. Somebody else said it, and I've swagger jacked it or took it because I thought it was interesting, but it's true. Men are very quick to forgive. They're just like, a problem happens, they expand a little bit, get a little, and then they come back and it's done, right? Women, however, right, it's just a little bit harder because that emotional up and down that they're on and the systematic way they think, right? That's the whole men think like waffles, women think like spaghetti. Very much so true. You have men who are wired to compartmentalize. So when we argue, men argue the way they do because they're just concerned with that day and that time and what the wrong was and the details of that. A lot of times women are smart enough or sophisticated enough where they want to recall pattern recognition. Well, yeah, today we're talking about this particular thing that's wrong, but also too, there's like 3 other times I remember this in the past, and it could just be like very particular dates, times they can remember, but because of their systematic thinking and their attention to detail, they can recall those very easily and be able to say, no, you actually did this 5 times in the past. It was on this date and it was at this time and we were doing this thing. And so it doesn't make a good recipe for conversation for men to try to argue with women because, it's my belief a woman will, unless a man is extremely competent, will always lose to a woman in an argument, right? It's just not meant to be that men would argue with women because they're better at recalling details and also to formulating emotional backing for their decisions. Men were not very emotional in nature. We're pretty like calm, right? And so when we feel disrespected, even in those instances, we don't have like the vocabulary sometimes to express each and every emotion and how that action. We're just like, I just don't feel good. I feel disrespected.
Right.
We just kind of like overview it.
Yeah.
A woman, if she feels like, man, this is something that happened, she can correlate various different emotions to why something and contextualize it and connect it all together. Okay, I feel these 4 different emotions because of what you did and this circumstance we're in based off holistically how I see everything in our relationship going today. That's a hard route to go to try and like disprove that, right? I think a man has to manage that through not only his own behavior, discipline, things of that nature, and just being aware that women are very focused on their behavior, right? Which I understood that. I think most men do, but I didn't know that to what extent, right? I didn't understand that women do continuous congruency checks because of their hypergamous nature, right? To make sure that the man they married or the man that they're with is living up to that first place, right, that they have in their head. Because that's part of the hypergamous thing,
Man, that is... So it's basically like, and we talked about this before, man. It's basically like, we're playing checkers.
Yeah. So that's the other challenge.
They're playing chess, right?
Yeah. Women been doing this for a long time as it relates to gaining the footing that they have today, right? Since the 50s, since feminism started. They've been meticulously, strategically working at, in their mind, what they feel like is evening the playing field. And while they've been doing this, right, everybody else, aside from women and probably a few men who've just been paying attention, they have basically taken over the world in a matter of 50 years under people's nose, and nobody knows it, right? Like if you look today and you talk to most people married in the church or outside the church, you ask them who runs the home, it's the wife. right? The whole pecking order or structuring that God plays, okay, God, man, woman, that is null and void, right? Rightfully so, because men have not only adhered to that idea that women should be head of the home and overseeing the affairs of the home and making the decisions, and they're the boss, right? But men too outright fear women too, which rightfully so. You know, women have the entire government behind them, the entire court system behind them, the entire community behind them. So it's really hard to like position yourself unless you're, you know, extremely confident, but actually in your circumstances, a huge amount of integrity in it, to be able to stand alone and say, hey, I'm not going with that mold of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with, you know, what God says, right? That's a like a stark difference. But even still, it's just a lot of confusion out there, right? Because even talking about roles and responsibilities, like we were talking about before, where the woman's working a lot, man's working a lot, and understanding the balance that was supposed to be there with, you know,
that's not because of that. Yeah.
Because of that now. Now you got more women not having kids and waiting later. So you got, I saw a study the other day that says women in their 40s are having more kids in their 40s than teenage girls are. Right?
Really?
Which is stark difference, right? In the 90s and like maybe the 80s, maybe early 2000s possibly, we would have, you know, the whole MTV teenagers having kids, you know, which is very alarming too. That's different set of problems. But now this pendulum has swung where we're no longer dealing with this like deep implications of like teen, you know, pregnancy, which I'm sure it still happens. But I think the rate at which it's happening is slowing down because women are opting out of pregnancy and just opting out of the idea of procreating. And now you've got women in their 40s who have waited. They've got their careers. They've got like their PhDs, their masters. They're like, okay, well, I want a family, so I'm going to do that. And now you have a lot of women in their 40s having kids.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a whole dynamic shift. Because again, you don't know until you look at male female dynamics, until you question like, well, what would happen if you gave a woman every possible freedom that a man has, and opportunity and strength, right? We're not doing that for men. We're not giving men all the same freedoms and like okay, open the door for the man, or hey, give him the benefit of the doubt because he's a man, or you see the better side of him because he's a man. Like all those rules don't apply to us, but when you change them for a woman and you still keep the rules, because that's what we did. We didn't change any of the traditional male rules for how a man should be. We just changed the traditional rules for how a woman should be. So we said, hey, you don't have to be traditional.
You can be this.
You can do this. You can sleep with whoever you want. You can make whatever decision, and you'll still be accepted, and nobody will, you know, say anything to you. So we've kind of just opened the floodgate for them to be exactly who they want, and we've told them, you have infinite amount of time. You can be whatever you want to be. It's okay.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before. How do you think that's working out? I mean,
it's
because I told you, I told you about my we have a friend, and that friend is in a situation that's like that, and it's like, okay,
so here's,
you know what I mean, like, like what do you think, like, because you're just getting older,
man. So here's the thing. I'll tackle this two ways. I'll tell you what I've seen out there based off my experience, experience of being married, almost 20 years in a church, being married to the person who, the first girlfriend I ever had, all that good stuff. And then I'll kind of tell you how my life is and the stark difference between how I feel the time we're in and why my life is the way it is.
Yeah, because I wanted to get to that too.
Yeah.
I wanted to see, like, how has it been for you out here in these streets? Like, dealing with what, because like you have been, It's like somebody has like shown you the Matrix.
Yes,
You know what I mean? It's like you see what's really going on.
For sure.
So what does that look like? And I mean, I definitely want you to answer, the
Yeah.
question, but what does that look like when you're out there?
Yeah.
So like imagine like you sitting there and you sitting across from a young lady or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's, she's dolled up and she's
I got a bunch of those stories.
Giving you the prototype, like
bunch of those things. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you're able to see like what's really happening. So what is that like for you? Like, because I would imagine that your responses are different from what they're probably used to dealing with because you're able to see certain things.
Absolutely. There's a ton there, right? Like, so, when you get divorced, right?
Yeah.
Depending on who you are, like I never thought I was getting divorced. I was like, there's no way. Like you're gonna have to kill me before I get divorced. Like it's like you're gonna have to kill me. You gotta be crazy if I get divorced. But again, you don't choose your journey, right? Like if somebody wants to get divorced, it's like, well, what are you gonna do? It's like it's like you can't do anything about that. But what I realized is this. The heroes that I had in the church, the people who taught me the things that I thought I knew that were like solid and in some cases was solid information. When I look at the stories of like brothers in the church where they're studying the Bible and then like, they're married and then their spouse confesses to infidelity, and it turns out like it's multiple people. And it's funny because this is almost like a trend I saw when I look back at all the people I respected, because even in this scenario where you have this husband and wife and the wife is cheating, what you'll see is the man thinking either it's his fault, one, and or thinking that it's his role and it's his responsibility to fix that, right? Not necessarily hold the spouse accountable for the infidelity, but they're feeling inspired to fix what may not even be their fault. And I've seen that in numerous cases. That's one case where it's, again, wife is sleeping around. The husband's like, I got to get in there now. The husband goes. He's like, hey, I'm going to fix this marriage. And he picks up the pieces. He bears the weight of what his wife did and keeps it moving, and he deals with all the bedroom implications of struggling to connect with his wife because he has to block out all the infidelity. So that's one scenario. Then you'll see another scenario where you got, a brother who was, he started dating his wife who was pregnant by a different man, right? But him being a man said, this is an opportunity for me to step up and take care of this woman with good intentions, right? Probably not the best idea, but it was with good intentions. So he takes care of this woman. She's 9 months pregnant, sticks by her side. She has the child. He stays there and becomes like the dad because the dad doesn't want anything to do with the son. He marries her, and this is where it was just them and the child, who was not his child. Okay, you fast forward, they have 2 kids. You fast forward towards the tail end of their marriage, she decides she wants to step out on him. So it just happens to be, I think they're at this point maybe married like 7 or 8 years, maybe a little longer. She steps out, right, and again has an affair with somebody. Versus him and his immediate reaction being like, okay, this is not a good idea for me to continue. It's probably a better idea for me to get out and move on and figure out how to co-parent responsibly with this woman. Same behavior. Leans into the woman and says, hey, I need to fix this. I need to pull my family together. And now the whole time she was showing little to no interest in wanting to actually mend things. She actually showed more interest in being with the other person, the gentleman who she had the affair with. And so long story short, this man keeps trying to fight for her. She keeps pulling away, fighting for her. He's chasing. she's pulling away, right? Which brings me to the other point that, again, men have never been taught that they should be attracting, not chasing, right? It's never a good thing if a man chases, but that's a separate thing. But long story short, exhibiting the same behaviors, chasing, even when it's not healthy.
You comfortable?
No, I'm good.
Your chair?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure because I
just
got
readjusting.
I got some more cushion over here.
No, I'm good. I'm
okay,
just readjusting.
Sure. All right.
And so again, same behavior. He goes back, tries to mend it. It didn't end up working. They end up getting divorced, and I think he ended up getting like sole custody of the kids because she didn't want that responsibility on her side.
Wow, that's terrible.
Which is crazy, right? So after like looking
it's terrible that they got a divorce.
It is, right? It's just a whole bad situation. Yeah. These are guys who I, still respect for this day. And when I looked at that situation prior to divorce, I was like, man, these guys are really righteous. I'm like, man, these guys have it figured out. These guys got character.
So how could this happen?
Yeah, right? But for me, what I had to realize is how toxic that behavior was that they were exhibiting. I had to realize the reality of that decision that they were making. And while most may be like, man, they were just trying to save their family. Yes, but good intentions don't mean it's the best thing to do. And I think that was something I had to come to a harsh reality on.
So you're saying that them trying to save their marriage by doing whatever, chasing, trying to mend and doing all the work to try to fix was actually doing the opposite effect. It was
I think so.
Helping to destroy the union between the two.
This is what I'll say out of these two stories, right? And there's kind of lessons I've gotten from both. In both these narratives, right, one ultimately continued to work, and that couple's still married to this day, and one did not. So I had to look at, well, why did one work and why did one not work? Who knows, right? You don't know because you're not in the home. You don't know how those conversations went. You don't know if they went to therapy. My outsider's audience perspective is that one case, the first scenario where the man was cheated on by multiple people and decided to come back, that person at least came back with self-respect and also the notion that he would hold his spouse accountable for their behavior and made that a lifestyle. And to this day, whenever that individual is by that person, by their spouse, it's always a clear understanding optically who is in charge and who is head of the home and who is not. Like there's no like, and every once in a while there's a slippage, right? There's a lot of these modern day terms and things that I think we do as men. Oh man, I gotta go, the wife said, that we still have ingrained in us, but it's a lot less of that. It's more like, hey, in action, I need this done, I need that done, period. No comma. It's just, hey, this has to get done. And maybe that's what works for them. The other relationship, again, just that individual, couldn't turn it around. And again, if a person does something wrong and you're chasing them to have a positive, it's sending the wrong message.
Right.
It's telling them that whatever they did was fine. And that's the problem with it. You can't just, when we sow an overwhelming amount of grace to either side, male side, female side, it is not healthy because it is putting this message into their head that their behavior is accepted and it's okay, versus, okay, let's pause. We need to talk about this and we need to just work on this thing because it's big for a little bit.
I like that. Me and my wife, we kind of set a precedent like a long time ago when we were dating. And I told her, I said, I'm not going to. I'll defend you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're in trouble.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're
Yep.
threatened or whatever and you're uncomfortable,
right.
whatever, I will
Yep.
do what I got to do as
That's
a man.
right.
But if you ever want to leave,
Yeah.
or you want to go and be with somebody, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then go ahead.
Yes.
I'm not going to fight this guy for you
That's right.
after we've already made the decision to be together. Like
That's right.
if this is the decision that you're deciding to go
That's
and
right.
go for what you know. I'm not going
That's
to be
right.
doing that.
Yep.
Let me know and we'll cut ties and you can go do what you need to do.
That's
but
right.
I'm not going to come and let's try to figure this.
That's right. And it's that framing that probably leads to a lot of healthy dynamics between you and your wife, because it's a healthy boundary. You guys have talked, hey, this is where I'm at with this topic. This is how I feel about this. And it's clear. It's community. Okay, cool. I get that. Like, I respect that. Cool. I know not to violate that boundary. Cool.
Right.
I'm glad you have a boundary I can respect.
That's why I don't never get jealous or anything. Like I don't never worry about
shouldn't
where she's at, what she's doing, nothing like. I don't
should not.
I don't worry about that at all. I don't have no. I was like
should not.
A long time ago. I was like, look, if you ever decide that this is what you want to do,
that's right.
Just know that it is at that point is when our marriage ends.
And that is
we're just gonna keep it moving. We'll figure out what we need to do, but we'll just keep it moving. And
you'll be.
It's been that way. I mean, we've been married 21 years now.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I'm super grateful to God that we just stayed together.
That's right.
But it was a long time ago, and I guess I got lucky because
absolutely.
Well, I think it's just different circumstances that God has kind of put me in to give me that frame of mind, because that's how I've been with all of the women that I've ever dated or been
absolutely.
with. I just always been in that mindset where like I'm not finna be fighting another dude over you.
That's right.
Or trying to. I'm not doing that.
That's right.
You can be with me.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. If we try or keep it moving. Like I'm not finna be trying to.
Yeah.
And I don't need necessarily mean like necessarily just even when it comes like physically fighting.
Yeah, you're just talking about in general.
Like in general, like competing. I'm not competing. Because it's to me it's pointless. To me, I'm like that's not what I'm. Why do I need to compete? Like my thing is like, look, you like me. Yeah. Let's work this out, whatever. Yeah. But if you're like, oh, I'm kind of on the fence because I kind of really like this person too, and we're gonna go ahead and cut that right now. Yeah. Going over there. Yeah. I'm gonna keep it moving. Yeah. And I've had conversations like that. I've had in situations in the past, a long time ago. Yep. But it's like female was just kind of, I was like, all right, well, I'm out. Yep. I see, they tried to circle the block. I was like, no.
So I have a question for you on this. I have a question for you. Yeah. In that, right? Mm-hmm. And understanding your psyche while you make decisions, why did you come up for that boundary for yourself? What do you feel led up to that based off who you are?
I just felt like, I'm going to be like 100 with you. Like, it's just too many women out here. Like, it's just too many capable, available for me to be sitting here trying to compete with some other dude over. I'm like, look, go for what you know. I'm gonna keep it moving. Like I just had too much. Yes, it was a combination of things. It was that, and then I think it was just, believe it or not, like the pride instilled in me from my family. Yep. And like my mom, like because I'm come from a single mom household. Yep. Right. And she was like that. She kind of understood, women's nature, how they are, and she was like, you don't. Yeah. Like you realize what you have and who you are, whatever. Don't ever, and it just kind of stuck in the back of my head, kind of what she said. Yep. And then understanding like that. I guess the biggest thing is understanding that I was loved. Yes. I knew that I was loved. That's and right. I had people in my corner. Like I came from a solid place. Yep. And so when I have that, and on top of that, it's like, I have this sort of kind of knowledge of how, how there's there's plenty of opportunities out there when it
Yeah.
comes to meeting people, whatever. I
Yeah.
kind of had that too.
Yep.
It just put me in a mind frame of like, I'm not finna be, like going back and forth with some dude over you. And not to make it sound crazy,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? But truth be told,
Yep.
it's like I shouldn't have to. Like in my
That's correct.
opinion.
That's correct.
It was just ingrained in me that I shouldn't have to do that.
That's
and
right.
So I'm like, I decided like I'm not going to, and so
That's right.
And so every woman
Yep.
that I had dated or been with, they
Yep.
kind of had the same thing.
Yep.
I kind of let them know, like, hey, if you wanna, then by all means.
So let
'cause
me
I'm not gonna chase after you
with saying
to
that.
try to get you to come with me instead of going with him. I'm not doing that.
All right. Another question. With having that boundary, in your opinion, obviously no one has a perfect dating experience. Everybody has like things. But when you look at your dating experience and you look about that boundary you kept, all right, this is philosophically, this is how I roll.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about the other stuff. Like all the stuff you talking about, I didn't know anything about. I just knew how I operated.
Yep. How would you, I guess, define your dating experience prior to getting married to your wife? How would you say, like, just in your opinion, like, hey, this is how it went for me. It may be different for other men, but in my opinion, this is how
So it was different.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, I still had a lot of learning to do. I was young when I was out there and dating and whatever. And I still had some things that I needed to, like, mature in and like flush out of my system because I didn't have a father figure in my life to kind of show me I did have that one thing. But I didn't have like a father figure to be like, keep your frame, son. You know what I'm saying? Keep your frame in all situations, whatever. And so I had to learn that. Like I had some situations where I did some, like I think we all did. Some situations where some straight simp behavior. And I had to kind of learn from that. And I was like, ooh, that was crazy. Like, I can't.
Why would I do that?
Why would I do that? Why would I say that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I saw what happened after I did, did that. And I saw how the behavior of that woman, whoever I was dealing with, changed. And how what I did, which based off of me watching movies and stuff like that, was like kind of like it was like a turnoff. It was a turnoff for them.
That's right.
So they either did something crazy and I had to cut them loose because of my own behavior because they were just responding off of
whatever they were
and then or it's like they just kind of was like shied away from me. And then I had a situation, like a couple of situations where it was like long term. I was engaged before I got started coming to church. And I was going to marry this woman. You know what I'm saying? Like we were very much in love with one another, and we were young. But and so I was studying, and I realized that I don't even say that I realized it was pointed out to me that I should break off that relationship.
Okay.
Because it wasn't found in it wasn't pure. And so I did it because I was just trying to all right, I'm just going to give my life to God. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm cutting off all ties, whatever. I just did it. I realized though after the fact that I didn't really necessarily have to do that. Like, I did that for the sake of appeasing the people that I was studying with. Which that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. But my dating experience with her was actually really pleasant. Because it was kind of long term. It was like, and she exhibited behaviors of a submissive woman, which was I didn't realize it at the time. I was very attracted to that. You know what I'm saying? And so either way, like that. So that did what it did, and I started coming to church or whatever. And my church experience was very different than what my experience was just out there dating. It's almost like it's a bubble. It's a bubble situation. Because you don't really like the things that I did that were like like simping behavior or whatever, I had to learn not to do that based off of trial and error. It wasn't like somebody was telling me, but whatever. And then when I started dating in church, it's like it wasn't like somebody was telling me like, okay, this is how you need to be a man, and this is how you need to. So it was still was trial and error, but at the same time, it was in a controlled environment. So when I was out there, the trial and error helped me to learn not to do it again, and it helped me immediately change my what I was doing, my behavior. But when I was dating in church, it's like the sipping behavior, if there was any, it wasn't being corrected.
Not at all.
Because it wasn't being addressed, and then even like the sister, whoever, wasn't really responding in the same way that those women out there responded. So I'm thinking that everything's okay, everything's normal, right?
That's right.
But so overall, the experience was interesting. It was positive because I dated a lot. I went on a lot of dates. And some people I was dating longer than others. Like I went on several dates. I remember almost getting engaged, or well, really, I got into like some serious relationships about good three different occasions before I met my wife.
Okay.
And all of those were pretty dope experiences. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about dating and all that. But it still is definitely, I think, now don't get me wrong, I'm grateful because there's some things that are there that I didn't have to deal with, that I had to deal with in the world. When I say in the world, I mean out like prior to church.
That's right. That's right.
And so it was one of those situations where I was very grateful because I didn't have to deal with that. I didn't have to worry so much about certain aspects of dating when you're out there. Because it's very blood in the water out there.
It is very.
And it's different when you're in a church environment. And
very different.
It's very different.
Yeah, just different set of challenges.
Just different set of challenges. And so I was more so focused on just trying to be encouraging. Making sure that person was encouraged. They had a good time. And that was kind of the main focus. Make sure they had a good time. Make sure I had a good time. And then eventually got to a point where I was like, I need to kind of start looking for a wife. Because, I mean, I'm cool with encouraging people and taking them out on dates and making sure they have a good time. That's great. But we had fun. Don't get me wrong. We had a lot of fun. But I was like, I need to start looking for someone because the urge in me was to find someone and, be married. I wanted to be married. And so I wanted to have a wife and start a family. And so when I started looking, like seriously dating, trying to find certain people I was interested in, those experiences I think were really great because I got a chance to get to know a lot of different, women, very capable. You know what I'm saying? But I would say the overall experience was positive. But at the same time, I would also say that my experience was definitely protected. It was like in a controlled environment. And the women that I had gotten close to, that I would say I could have probably just as well married them. As opposed to who I ended up marrying. Getting to know those women more on the type of intimate level that I got a chance to get to know them on. I'm gonna say that I'm grateful that I had that experience because I think that if it wasn't for us being at church or being able to have certain morals or boundaries, it would have been a little bit of a different situation with those women.
That's right. You
know what I mean? Maybe we would have end up getting into some immoral stuff together. You know what I mean? Which is very possible out there. And
absolutely.
So that's the biggest thing that I'm grateful for. And I would say that my overall dating experience was positive. Even though it was in a controlled environment.
So you'll be surprised, right? how many men, especially in this day and age, can reflect on their dating period of time and have somewhat of an optimistic view on it, right?
Okay.
Because again, like those are married friends, right? That I'm referring to, but like then you got single guys, and single men out there. I just hear all the stories from people I've been on the date when I talk to women about their dating experiences, and they tell me about like what they're running into. I mean, it's not only like a barometer or a signal for like where men are and like their struggle to communicate, their struggle to carry a conversation, be charismatic, all these things like that.
You talking about like men?
Men, right? Because again,
And
naturally,
this is feedback from women.
Feedback from women. Because when I go on a date with somebody, yeah, I want to know about you and who you are, but that does include your dating history. I want to know, like, hey, how has it been for you? Have you been married no times, or have you been married 3 times? Mm-hmm. And again, when I talk to women and they're telling me about like dating men their age, right, or dating men in general, it's like, one of the quotes I'll borrow from what somebody told me is like, they'll be like, yo, the bar is in hell. Because the quality of men is so bad out there. They're like, yo, the bar is in hell. And I'm like, wow, that is a powerful statement.
Wow.
And it's like, I do believe it's because stronger men who can set boundaries, stronger men who hold frames, stronger men who probably are a little bit more intuitive about women because they've had experience, aren't being called on to teach the men with no experience. Right. And so you brought up 2 terms, simping and framing. Right. These are terms that the general public do not understand what they are.
Right.
Don't know. Right. Simping's this idea where a person is showing affection and or having a feeling towards a person that is unreciprocated. Right. It's like, hey, I love you. You are the best thing since sliced bread. And that person, one, has not shown no signs to reciprocate, nor wants to reciprocate, but that person keeps loving that person, right? That's kind of the climate of men. Most single men chasing after women on social media, which is a whole nother thing, the whole like OnlyFans craze and the whole issue with men going on Instagram and liking women's photos who you don't even know them. Like, you're liking this woman. You don't even know that woman from anywhere. Like, she's never spoken a word to you or said hi or nothing.
Yep.
And your comment is, you are the most beautiful thing in the world. And it's like, whoa, did she even show that level of interest in you before you decided to show that interest in her? And most of the time it's no. And so you have, all these different I would call them inappropriate behaviors, right? Even with frame. People don't understand the idea of what a frame is. A frame is just a way that something is, how should I say, pitched or, formulated together, right? It could be a person's backbone. Okay, this person frames it here. Don't step outside the picture frame because this person has said this is where, things happen at. And so you have a lot of men who don't have no frame. I know I'll speak to another story where, even in my family, you got people who are married. The wife, runs the home, right? The husband's wasting away because he doesn't even believe in himself. And he's so beat down by the, wife who says, hey, I love this husband. He does everything I want, but I'm still annoyed by him. She's annoyed by him because he doesn't have any boundaries. He's not ambitious, right? Like, there's this idea that I've learned along the way that, again, women want to be married to giants, right? They want to look up to their spouse, right? They want to feel like the person they're marrying is the guy who everybody else wants but didn't get. They all want to marry this guy, but I got him. I got the champion. Thank you. Now, there's varying degrees of how people feel that way and how they want and who wants to experience that, right? Like, obviously, if you're an extremely attractive person, that's going to matter a lot more to you. because you're so used to living a life where people are complimenting you. You're in the limelight all the time. You want to share that space with a man who is equally as attractive and smart and intelligent as you. So your hypergamous nature is probably going to be a lot higher as a woman. Now, for, a woman who did not have the same opportunities as a woman whose face is symmetrical and really pretty, and she maybe had to get teased and grow into her beauty, her standards aren't going to be as high. There's going to be some humility there. There's going to be like, nah, I know what it's like to not be loved or not be looked at. This guy is good enough for me. He has the things and the ingredients that I think I need. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Men and large communities don't really talk about these things or understand these things. And so we could look at marriage statistics. 80% of women initiate divorce. Well, why is that? Well, because women are hypergamous. Okay, well, why would that lead to 80% of initiation in divorces? Because behaviorally, women are quicker to want to exit a relationship than a man. That's just the way it is. It's statistics, right? It's the way it is. And we need to know that. Men should know that. Men should know, like, hey, look, it's great that you love your wife and your wife loves you, but again, she has a hypergamous nature, right? And you have a passive nature. If you keep trying to fight these nickel and dime battles on disagreement, she's going to win at the end of the day. Eventually, you are going to give up because you are a rubber band. You can collapse, expand, and become accepting of things that you maybe should not. And she's going to lose it because she's going to be like, okay, I need someone to create a boundary for me. I need somebody who gives me, right, a perspective of where this family could go as the man. But if I'm defining that, then I should be making the decisions and running the household.
Right. So let me ask you this, going back to what I originally asked as far as you and dating now.
Yeah. The second question. Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So how's that been for you? Because it's different when you, because I was just talking to my wife the other day about, I said, if something happened to me, okay?
Yeah.
Or if she said something happened to me, she's not doing it again. She said
it's hard.
Statistically, she's like, a lot of women just don't. Like after their wife is their husband like either pass away or they divorce and they're older. They tend not to get remarried.
A lot don't, but some do.
Some do, but most of them don't. And like with guys, I told her, I was like, if something happened to you, I'm not not here.
Han Solo,
I'm not here in the States.
Yeah, not in the States. Yeah, no.
And she was surprised. She was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, I can't see you going over. I was like, I'm not trying to date anybody here. Really, be real talk. Like, I don't. That's not a thing
culture.
For me.
The culture is so different.
So I want to ask you how you have been. Like, how's it been for you?
So it's different for me, right? Like I actually created me a bubble, and I've never told you this before, but that's the thing is like when I first, and I was fortunate, right? Here's the thing, and I'll speak from understanding my life. So here's what I understand about me, right? And I didn't understand this before. There are certain privileges you inherit that are you just got good luck, right? Like if you're a man and you're born 6'4", it's like, bro, you hit the lottery and you could do nothing about that. But you are going to be, for the most part, substantially more attractive and garnish more attention than a man who's less than 6 feet. Just the way it is. It's a real thing, right? And so attractive wise, that's just it. I was born 6'1", which is, a few inches over the, mark. But that's a good thing for me. You got all these dating apps now. It's like they're starting to put height. And every woman in that, hey, 6 feet, if it's anything less, most women are not even interested in, right? So it's like, okay, I came into that privilege, right? Both my parents, my dad was handsome, my mom was beautiful. So I inherited.
So I'm actually, I've been out the game for a minute. I don't know. Help me out, man. So you saying there ain't no love for the short kings out there?
It is, but you got to be super talented, right? You think about like a Kevin Hart, right? Kevin Hart is a small man, right? But again, he's intelligent, he's smart, right? Some would say he's an attractive guy. But again, based off those
And
ingredients,
he's very rich.
he's very rich. So based off those things you and he's funny, right? That's an important thing, right?
Yeah.
He probably can have very good conversations.
Yeah.
So if you are a short king, it's not that you can't find a wife. It's just going to be so much more harder. You're going to have to eat a lot more mud. So if you correlate it back to me, there was a lot of things I was able to avoid just because of inherent, value that I got from my parents and otherwise that I couldn't control. But there was a lot of my academia nature that played to my benefit, because for me, right when I got divorced, I probably stayed single for about a year and a half. I didn't date anybody. I was focused on my son, just wasn't thinking about dating at all. And then after, I kind of jumped into like a dating relationship and then jumped into a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with somebody. And that relationship was weird because, again, this individual had, she was 28 at the time. I was, older than her, but she just had experience. She was able to go to these big cities and had time to be able to date and like live life and be cultured and be outside. I've been sheltered for 20 years. I haven't went outside like that. I don't know a good place to grab a drink on a Saturday. I was super ignorant, right? So I had to have people teach me along the way, like, what is it to go to Atlanta and be able to find a good rooftop restaurant to eat at? Because I, hadn't done that. When I was married, we'd go places, but it was like within budget. And it was like, we would go to some fancy places, but again, it was once in a blue moon, and I didn't really understand the power behind a great dinner, right? Especially a date, right? You just didn't know.
It's a lot of power behind that.
A lot of power.
I was just on one last night.
Right? So it's a lot of power behind. Make sure this gets done weekly basis or every other week, whatever.
Yeah.
So you fast forward, end up breaking up with my girlfriend, and that relationship, because of the stark difference of her experiences and me realizing how kind of ignorant I was to dating because of just the experience gap, I decided, well, maybe there's more to the story. Maybe there's a lot about dating I don't understand, right? And that was like a mutual, like, hey, I'm going to move back home. Great, cool. You move back home. I'll stay here. If you think we'll figure it out, right? So it was a good, clean, like, hey, let's just, see where and we're still super tight, or whatever. But it's one of those things where you jump into the dating pool and then you're like, okay, well, how am I going to find somebody? Okay, well, I can either cold approach, go somewhere and just meet somebody and be like, hey, you want to go have some coffee and talk? Like, I notice you're into, nuclear medicine. Like, let's go have a coffee about it. Right. So that's one approach. Then there's church. And then there's dating apps, right? Which everybody has, for some reason, gravitate to. And so I started, tiddling with different things. I had a lot of church-related people. Yo, man, I got this sister. Man, I got this sister, and all that. And that just got tiring because it was just always people telling me who they got for me and who I should meet. And most of the time it wasn't anybody who I'd be interested in dating. And I was just like, okay, that's not going to work. Cold approaching, some of that was happening, right? I would meet people who, randomly, and then, you would kind of date. No, just not for me, right? Dating apps was probably the largest curve, but it was like the arena where I was like, okay, it's tech. Let me see. This is weird, getting on an app, but let me study it, understand it. And what you find is the more you try to understand something, my dad used to tell me, the person who understands the why will always go further than the person who understands the how. And it's right. If you understand why something is the way it is, you'll always be able to do the how to it and figure that out. But if you don't understand the why and you just know the how, and a lot of men know the how. They know to get on an app. They know to swipe left or right. They know to say a message, but they don't know like why you need to do things. Like why on a dating app do you need to be very brief in your bio on who you are and what, because you're supposed to save that conversation for the date. Right. Why do you not spend several weeks, endless hours texting a woman. Because again, you save that for the date. You want the person who has never met you to obviously get a comfort level with you because they don't know you. So there is a bit of like comfort building, but I developed this like, hey, I'm going to text you 5 times back and forth. After the 5th time, if we're not going on a date, then we're not going to work and we're probably not going to move forward. And it was a really good rule for me. I would say hello, start the intro. They would text back. Between those 5 texts, my job is to, okay, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do for a living. This is what I'm looking for. Try to find compatibility. Okay, let's go on a date. Most of the time, within those 5, yeah, it's all good. Going on a date. Occasionally, it's just, this is not going anywhere. So I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to move on. Which was super good.
How did you determine that, though? I mean, what I'm saying is,
yeah.
How did you because sometimes somebody might be, I don't know, in the middle of something or whatever, and they get back to you later or whatever the case may be, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, we've had about 5 texts and I haven't heard from this person, so I'm going to keep it moving. And then all of a sudden you hear from them again.
Yeah.
They text you again. Do you text them back after that, or do you just like, I'm good?
Yeah. So it's funny you. Hold on one second. Dang. Dad's texting me here. So it's funny you asked that. So this is another term that I was very not aware of. Like I was like, I didn't even know this was a term. So there was a term I came across called genuine desire. And I'm like, what's this term, genuine desire? And so there's this idea that you can determine whether or not a woman or, a person's going to be interested into you by their genuine desire. What is genuine desire, right? A lot of times you'll have women, especially in this day and age, you'll be like, oh yeah, I just want this, this, and this from a man, and I will be interested. But a lot of men are confused, like when they get ghosted or when they're not getting responses, is because typically a woman's not interested. It's just, hey, just not interested.
Yeah, I get that part, the genuine desire.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's dive into that some more, because I think
so
a lot
I'm
of
gonna
guys
connect
don't.
it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna connect it to what you were saying.
Yeah.
And so,
because I have another question behind that, but talk more about
so connecting it
how
to
a lot
the
of guys
message.
don't. Now, because I want to dive into that. Like a lot of guys don't.
I'll connect it all together.
Realizing that this, like, they don't understand the general desire thing. Right?
Absolutely.
They don't get it.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, how did you figure that out? Like, how did you figure out how to determine if a woman has general desire in you or not?
All right. So here's the thing with conversation, and this brings us back to the five texts, right? What I've learned, at least for me, this may be different for other people. If a woman is really genuinely interested in you, she's not going to want to text you 5 different times and like keep you on the phone all day. She's going to be like, I would like to meet you in real life. Tell me where to be. Tell me what I need to wear, and I will be there. That's the difference. When you're 10, 15, 20 texts in and you have initiated, right? Because the burden of the performance falls on the man. You need to ask her out on a date. You shouldn't be waiting for her to say, hey, can I take you out? No, you as the man, hey, I'm getting to know you. You sound very interesting. I'd like to take you somewhere to go get a bite to eat and know you more. A man should be doing that, like, again, after some basic introductions, right? Both people are adults. They know why they're on the app. You know why I'm here. I know why you're here. Let's establish intention. We are all adults. Hey, let's meet somewhere mutual. Have a great dinner. Talk in real life, right? Do I think everybody can have that rule? No, I think you have to be careful, right? Because some people are better at socializing than others. Some people are better at conversations than others. So I could be having a conversation, and I know from understanding women a little bit, right? The worst thing you can do is bore them, right? No woman wants to be on a long text message or phone call with somebody who doesn't have anything interesting to say or who's boring.
Right.
that hurts genuine desire. It's like, hey, I don't even know if I want to go out with you because you're kind of boring. Like, I need some adventure in my life. But when you understand, okay, it is kind of a performance as a man to have something to say, right? To keep someone entertained. Hey, I know how to talk. I know how to relate with you. When you can do that and do it effectively, then you understand the intent of genuine desire and how it gauges whether or not you are going to get a date with somebody you like. And you start to understand, well, if she's initiating, if she beats me to the punch before those 5 texts and she's like, hey, text 2, like, hey, look, I think you're great. I think you're amazing. Read your profile. Like, we should go get some food. That woman genuinely wants to get to know you. She has genuine desire to meet you. If, you ask to take her on a date and she doesn't clarify, when she's available, and or if you throw like a little playful hook in there about, grabbing a drink somewhere or grabbing a bite to eat at maybe a favorite restaurant that she mentioned, and there's no response, it's just a very easy signal to say, oh, she's not interested. Cool. Let me keep moving.
Keep it moving, yeah.
Right? But genuine desire is very much so a thing that is not discussed that should be, right? Because I think it very much so gives men good instinctive like ways to understand, is a woman interested or not?
I mean, I saw a statistic the other day. It wasn't a statistic. It was a feed. It was something that popped in my feed, and this guy, he's writing a book. I need to find that book and send it to you. But he said that he looked at a statistic and said that the most young guys, I guess he was talking about, age 18 to 34, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. He said 45% are not even approaching women.
Yeah.
To even ask them out on a date to see if they even have genuine interest. I mean, the general, desire. Like they're not even trying to go.
They're not even
like even close to even trying to find out if they have, because you might have a woman who is actually liking a dude, and just like, is he gonna like make a move, or is he gonna, and they just won't.
And that's the big problem, is that because no one's teaching men, or teaching them to read, or teaching them to seek answers, they're like vilifying women, not understanding that that's probably not the best approach. You have to understand their nature, understand why they do what they do. Then you can better equip yourself to understand what's going on. You can't always like cop out why something happens as malicious behavior from the other side. And I think that's what both sides are doing. They're like just assuming the worst out of both sides because of ignorance, and they don't know anything about the other side, when it's like not even that deep. It could be just, she didn't have genuine desire because you wasn't bold and confident enough to just say, hey, I would like to take you out if you're open to that. Let's go. And most guys spend too much time just like, puttering underwater like the duck, and they say the duck, everything looks fine up top, but they're just like puttering underwater. That's what men do sometimes in conversation. They have not exercised that skill set of just learning how to have a normal conversation with a woman. And so this is the other thing I found that's really profound. It was actually, I read this book, No More Mr. Nice Guy. I can't remember the author's name, but really profound book. But it talks about how like men, when it comes to how they deal with women, a lot of times we're too focused on the outcome. We're too focused on what we can get. And so a lot of times men are married, right? And they're not having any sex in their marriage, right? Their wife does not have any genuine desire for that category in the relationship. A lot of times, because men aren't taught correctly, they're bombarding their wife. Man, let me, figure out what I can do to get us back on track, man, I'll watch the kids. I'll, take the kids to their thing. I'm going to do the dishes. I'm going to be a model husband to get her. But that doesn't work because, again, the other quote that you can't negotiate with genuine desire. There's no way to negotiate with a woman if she's not into whatever it is, right? So she just doesn't want to go there. She's like, I just don't want to go there. And you can't. Men try to do it, and at times you could probably make it work, but the ick feeling that she gets,
once the ick sets in,
it's not gonna go away.
It's
right?
It's a problem. Me and my wife talk about the ick.
Exactly.
It's like when a woman gets the ick,
it's stuck. And so for me, I'm like, well, versus you, they calling it love bombing now, right? And that's what love bombing is when a man is doing things nice for a woman and it's perceived as unwanted or not asked for. We're calling it love bombing now, right? So we've put a negative framing on what simping is now and why, right? It's not a good thing. But it's like, my thing is this. If a man stops and says, okay, she's not feeling whatever this is, and says, let me work on myself. Let me go to the gym every day like I'm supposed to be doing to improve myself. Let me see if my character is aligning with integrity and discipline. If it's not, let me fix it. Let me make sure I'm providing enough structure, right? That's actually sound, where she's like, okay, I know where this ship is going and what we're doing. Man, do my kids respect me, right? Do I have healthy male relationships in my life? There's a lot of check boxes I think men need to do before even going to, because again, if you're doing all these things, if you've got the male relationships in your life that are healthy and you're able to, get that camaraderie, get that, space to like vent what's going on at work and come home healthier to your home, you're exercising, you're reading every day instead of watching TV, instead of watching football all day, you're actually trying to improve yourself. You will slowly start to attract that person back to you because they see that champion, right, that they originally married.
Right.
But it's that passivity of men forgetting that they are judged by their courting period with their woman, not by everything else that happens. So you could give a woman good 10, 15 years, but as soon as things go wrong, she's looking back at that courting years.
Period,
hey, like, man, you were taking me here. You did this. Our proposal was this.
You had a six-pack.
You was on point. Nothing was getting it's like, of course he was. He was hunting for a mate.
Yeah.
Right? Of course he's going to be sharp.
Right.
He's like, has to be his best and brightest.
Young wolf. Of course he's going to be,
That's it. But what's not preached to men is that standard is the standard you have to hold for that woman for the rest of your life. You have to be that guy forever. You never can lose that thing because of her hypergamous nature. A woman could become overweight, fat, disrespectful, whatever, and a man will still accept her because our commitment is different from a woman's commitment.
Yeah, that's interesting, man, because and I agree. I definitely agree. I have to say, man, I have definitely switched.
Yeah.
The like, especially the physicality part.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I done went from 240 to 320, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And now I'm in better shape now as an older man because we train.
No more computer body.
No computer body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my wife stuck in there with me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? She stuck in there with me. I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
I think that's just due to her relationship with God, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because she could have easily, especially in the 320 days, been like, this guy's a fat slob. You know, it's like, and he's not doing what he used to do, taking me out all the time, you know what I mean? So, and
it's multifaceted. That's the other complex part, because it's not just that one thing with a woman. It's the system of things.
So it's like,
okay, if you're overweight, that's one nick.
Right.
But then if you don't have any boundaries, no backbone, no direction, no ambition, that's like another thing. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
not only is my guy super heavy and fat, out of shape, he doesn't have any direction for us. He's not ambition. He doesn't want anything from. It's like once the stack happens, it's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Right.
It's like it's all out, and it's like women sometimes they can come very finite in their thinking. Okay, like no, you're gonna be like this forever. You're never gonna change, right? That's like the most common term they say, and it's like. So it takes this plethora of things. And some women, it takes more than others. Right? Again, depending on the woman you marry.
Yeah.
If you marry a good, valuable woman, it's going to take her a lot more to get to a point where she's like,
Yeah.
than a woman who may be not as valuable. The woman who's like ready to jump out of there quickly for anything.
You don't have any kind of room for error.
You don't have any type of room for error. That person has experienced a bubble experience and a unhealthy set experience of relationships and doesn't know and or can't stomach, the type of grit and effort it takes to do a 30, 40-year relationship. That's just going to be very impossible for that person.
So let me ask you this. Back to your situation with, all right, so you get past the 5 texts, right?
Yeah.
You're on a date.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How has your experience been knowing what you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, I'm sitting, and we've had these talks, bro.
Sure,
and I'm just kind of like, this Joker has been doing his homework, man. He is studied up. Like, it's just, I'm just saying, like, I'm not, no gas. I'm just saying, like, the way you look at it,
sure,
and how you look at things, it's like very precise. It's just different.
Yeah.
You know how you can go through a situation and you're like, oh, he's pretty skilled, or whatever. And then you look at another person like, this guy's moving completely different. Like, it's like say if, we are doing some kind of we're doing some kind of a sport or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You see a guy out there, he's playing ball. He got a little bit of skill. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He plays some street ball. You can tell he's got, some moves or whatever. Yeah. Then you see another guy, maybe same build, same height, but he used to play professional for NBA. Yeah. He moves different. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so not to gas you up, but it's like when I see your situation, it's like he's done some extra studying of the nature of relationships and the nature specifically of women. Yeah. Knowing what you know. Yep. Like, because in my opinion, like, I feel like a lot of guys need to know this if they're dating. Like, they need to have this knowledge. So, you knowing what you know, you're sitting across from a young lady. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And you've been having these experiences, right? Yep. And you know what you're looking for now. Like, you know kind of the nature one. What has that been like for you? Like, seeing the Matrix as it really is. Not what it's presenting, but what it really is. You're sitting across. What are some of the what are some of the things that are kind of like that you would say jump out at you that it would be, or jumped out at you while you were dating? Like, what has that been like for you?
Again, it's the feedback that women have about other men and what they say about other men. Like, and how, again, like, my journey has been like, it's a lot of mud eating. And I think that's the problem, is a lot of men don't want to eat that mud. You don't want to question what you've always believed as right or wrong. That's a hard pill to swallow, to admit, oh man, I was wrong.
Changes your belief system.
Changes your belief system. But also too, just like becoming very like okay with rejection is a healthy thing. Like, you gotta be okay. Like, if you go on a date, then okay, it's just a date. It's fine. Like, that part is the next. Yeah. So when I go on these dates and I talk to women and they kind of start to understand, one, my masculine nature, my, how should I say, nature of having a frame and setting boundaries, they absolutely enjoy that aspect about me when I have structure and like frame, and I'm like, I don't like expect the people I go on date with to pay. Like that's man's role. Or I open doors, things of that nature. Or I'm just a lot more intentional in conversation, and I like to listen before I talk and all those things. And so when I talk to people and they tell me the stories about men they deal with and how men are falling behind and they can't have a conversation, or a lot of the men that they're dating are broke, or stay at a mom's house, or don't have a car, or don't know how to be charismatic, or just all these sort of things that you have to learn through trial and failure as a man on how to be these things, unless you're naturally gifted. But you have to like teach yourself these things. And a lot of men, like you said, are going the other way. They're like, that's too much work. I'd rather just go play in the forest and shoot things, and I'll just move on with my life. I don't need a woman. It's like, okay, that's one way to handle it. But that's where we're going, because again, we've made the difficulty for entry so high now because women have access. Again, you give a hypergamous creature, right, a woman who is engineered to date across the circle, right, or across the social circle, right? Okay, this person is equal to me, at least bare minimum. They can't be worse than me. Equal, or they're better, and they prefer better, right? When women date that way, and we have year over year statistics of men, education going down, income going down, social health going down, like men aren't talking to other men, so they're just spending time alone. How do men improve their social skills? Being with friends, being out. So if they're just checking out, playing video games, staying inside, when they go to talk with a real person, now we haven't even added on the struggle of men with like OnlyFans, pornography, and what that does. That's a whole nother issue.
Thing, yeah.
But you add all these things men are up against, and then we're expecting them with no training, no insights, that is separate from Hollywood and or church traditional talk, right? We don't have the right solutions and recommendations to help them succeed in this sort of like market in dating, right? Because again, the old rules that we hold men towards, they don't work anymore, right? We have to be a lot more diligent as men, because women have been giving a astronomical amount of freedom to do whatever they want. Date whoever they want, experience dating at whatever flavor they want with no accountability. And so you are inheriting that if you're not asking some very particular questions about the person you're dating. So for me, because I've been educating myself along the way and getting advice and talking to people who disagree with me, but also talking with people who agree with me, it's been relatively smooth. Right? But that's because of all the work I've had to do to keep it smooth. There's definitely been like times where I've like dated somebody and I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to date this person again. Ever in my life. Like whatever this was, whatever you caused in my life, like I will never do this again with another person. And matter of fact, I'm going to make more boundaries now.
Right.
To avoid dealing with an individual like you. So there's definitely like, you know, at least one circumstance where I was just like, dude, you got to choose better. But as you, again, learn through your mistakes, you bump your head. If you capitalize on those learnings, man, dating's a breeze, because you already know, like you said, what your intent is as a man, what you need, and that is your conversation to the person across the table. It's like, hey, well, it's not, what do I bring? I know what I bring. So when they say, hey, well, what do you bring, right? Or what do you do for a living? That speaks for itself. What are your hobbies? Oh, I do this hobby, this hobby, this hobby. Okay. Oh, do you love God? Oh, absolutely love God. This is the church that, I like to attend to when I go, right? the value's already there. I'm speaking from a place of value and the value that people prefer a person to have. The challenge is men aren't taught to, again, perceive the value of the individual that they're dating. So they don't even know where to start. If you were to ask a man, what does a woman want? He'll probably five-finger guess the best 5 things he think he should be doing based off how society has taught him to think. You ask a woman that, she won't know, and or some women will know, but just not know at a granular level. Because they're not taught to understand what a man wants in this day and age. They're taught to understand how to protect themselves from a man, how to get your money, keep your money, so that when you meet a guy, you can love him, but you only love him, enough to say, hey, as long as I can keep my own job, keep my own independence, make sure I'm protected, just in case something bad happens with us. It's more like crisis prevention training for women versus like, you got to be submissive in the home. Like, if that's your husband, you should listen to him, right? Or this is the type of person you should marry. This is his character. None of that's being talked about.
So with that said, like, I can imagine, and it's been challenging probably to find people that are suitable or capable of being able to meet you at that level of expectation that you have, right? Like for a woman.
Absolutely. Like, for sure. Like, that's the challenging part. Because again, like, if I'm going outside and I'm a single dad, so it's just me and my son, and like, that's the bulk of my life, and he's the most important thing in my life. So if I'm going out, I'm slaying dragons every day, right? And I'm creating an environment, and this is my conviction. Like, it's my conviction that a woman's life should look as close as it should to Proverbs 31, right? A woman, her main role is the home. But does she have like business endeavors that she can go out and do if she? Yeah, absolutely.
For the benefit of
benefit of the home, not for her trying to.
Right.
All right, no, that's my job.
It's a very radical concept.
Very radical, almost foreign, mystical, right? But that's the thing. It's like, it's one person's job to think about the financial well-being of the home, right? And it's another person's job to support that thinking. But we've, like, unknowingly and unfairly put that burden on women. Oh, man, instead of that 2-bedroom home, we need to get that 4.5-bedroom home in East Cobb. So you're going to work, I'm going to work, and we're going to have this big house.
Gosh, bro.
And I'm going to sacrifice my footing as a man versus work my way up to get this on my own merit so that she doesn't have to feel the stress. I'm just going to say it's all the same. And most of the time what I've seen what men do is they're like, it's all cool. And then time progresses. The kids are going to daycares, various babysitting things. And eventually it gets to the point where the kids are leaving or they're close to leaving. And the woman's like, all right, well, now I want to start a company. And you know what the man does? He says, I'm going to help your company. And I'm going to stop my career and I'm actually going to do your company and I'm going to help you. They almost become the women. They're like, hey, I'm going to help you build your vision up. And again, it's just not the way, right, we were supposed to experience male-female dynamics, right?
Yeah.
The man is supposed to, in a lot of ways, spearhead that ambition for the family because it's when he stops being ambitious, things fall apart. If a woman stops being ambitious in the relationship, not as probably painful, as long as she's doing like the house stuff, she doesn't have to feel like she needs to be an astronaut when she grows up. Man doesn't care what a woman makes or how much. That's the other problem too in the market is, I don't think I've dated the mass majority of the people I have dated who I've taken seriously and it's like move forward have been 6-figure earners, like all of them. And again, that's a different dynamic from
them being who they are. They're hypergamous beings.
Yeah,
they're looking for at least where they are.
Yep,
or higher,
above. Right
now. So with that said, now this is something I know we've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Now and I talked to Yolanda about that. We literally was just talking about this before you got here. I was like, now that's cool.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's part of the nature of women. I get that.
Yep.
But what happens when that woman is not as young as she used to be? Mm-hmm. She's a little older now.
Yeah.
She's still, she's doing her thing, but she's kind of in her, she's a little bit older in life. She's still single. Yeah. Or maybe single with a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's making her 6 figures. She's got her career on tight, and she's doing her thing. She's got her own crib.
Yeah.
But she's a little bit older, and she's looking for that guy who is where she is or higher.
Yep.
She's looking for that.
Yeah.
That high level dude.
Yep.
But that talent pool.
Yep. Slim pickings.
Is now smaller. Yeah. Because she is older. Have you come across that? Or
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, like, because and I don't know. I don't think I've ever asked you this because I know that like some of your recent situations, the two were very different in age.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So as a guy of your standing, who do you tend to gravitate towards, like, in far as dating is concerned? Like, well, what I'm saying is, like, if you do find someone that's at least hitting a few check marks, you mentioned just now that you have a hard time finding. Yeah. But what has been your experience, and what do you tend to gravitate towards as far as like, especially when it comes to age, like age range, and what I'm saying, maturity, and kind of where they, because like you said, you've been dating some 6-figure women, right? 6-figure women, So what are the things that you, from your own perspective, that you tend to like more, or or you tend to gravitate towards more? Yeah. I'm talking about just not necessarily dating long term, but just getting to know a little bit more, dating, just starting out the process. Like, what do you tend to be attracted to more?
I think for me, like, when I look at women who I would invest a future into, right, long term, I would say very much so someone who is youthful in behavior, right? Like, where I'm at, I'm 42, right? I work a ton, right? I have a teenager, right? I'm pretty, like, structural, discipline, like, driven, all the things that men are. I'm that. That's not necessarily what I need in a partner. What I do need is someone who knows how to have fun, right? Who knows how to go out, have a good time, who knows how to think optimistically about life, even when it's not as optimistic, right? So there's that aspect. There's the aspect of me figuring out whether I want to have more kids or not. So it's like, obviously this individual needs to be in an age range where they could have kids with no issues, right? If that's something I decide that I want to continue
health-wise, like
health-wise, right? Even age-wise, as controversial as it is, but again, like, for me, if I want to have kids and I'm dating somebody who's 38, 39, probably not a good idea, right?
Why so?
Just the medical.
That's what I'm saying. Health-wise, it may be not a great thing for.
Exactly. So just health reasons, right? You just want to be mindful that, okay, based off what you are looking for, based off where this person realistically is, may not be a good thing. So I would say that. And then I would say, like, submissiveness, agreeableness, as they would call it now, right? Which is a lot more palatable word, but agreeableness. Like, I don't have a need to be with an individual who will argue with me about every decision I make. Like, I could do that all by myself, right? If I have a person who, is going to be a helper for me for the rest of my life, ideally I would, want them to have their own mind, their own opinion on things, but for the most part,
likes to argue with you on everything.
Yeah, you just want, for the most part, an agreeable natured woman, right? When you have that in your life, what that looks like is, again, most decisions are like, Yeah, sure.
When you say agreeable nature, are you talking about someone who's just a little bit more submissive, or not necessarily
Yeah,
submissive, but like
you could paint it as
maybe
submissive.
more has a little bit more humility?
I think that's an ingredient in there because I
Yeah.
think they go hand in hand. I think a
Right,
humble woman is an agreeable woman,
Right.
right? That it's just going to go hand in hand. If she feels like, you know what, I really like this guy and I want to spend my life with him, it's not going to be such a big deal if that guy has a preference to go either to pizza or to a steakhouse.
Right.
It's like, nah, it's just a choice. I'm sure, right? I hope if this man has some sense of like, uh, you know, care for me, that I would be able to choose at some point, or he would ask me where I want to go at some point. But it starts from a place of like, yeah, whatever this gentleman wants, right? It's not that big of a deal. The person where you're just like everywhere you go, you're going back and forth, are the most littlest mundane thing that's really not that important. They're making an argument out of. Okay, that's not an agreeable person, right?
Literally dealing with that with my daughter right now.
Yeah, right. It's like
everything, we dying on every hill, and I'm like,
it's
this is not what you want, sweetheart. You don't want this dynamic with the person you're going to be with.
It's a tough life, and men instinctively, when they get done, they're just done.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing a lot of men who are going on these dates, and I have a large amount of patience, right? And so it's different for me where I'll be dating somebody and I'll have friends that are like, dude, I would have broke up with her for that. And I'm like, just for that? And it's like, yeah. But again, these are men who have options, and so they know their worth and they're deciding whether or not they want to experience something or not.
Yeah.
But men do, I think, in certain cases, especially if you've not elevated yourself to get everything you want, you have to spend some time just learning. Like, why does she not agree with me? Like, what is that? Where does that come from? And have hard talks. Hey, why are you so argumentative with me? Have a conversation about it.
We have. Me and my daughter have. We definitely had several.
Right? And you learn a lot from those conversations, and you learn what's going on in the kitchen. But, you know, I would say the large amount of my experience is hearing all the horror stories, dealing with just difference in opinion, and me sticking on that, and people being like, you know what, I don't agree with you, but I respect that you disagree with me, because it's better than you agreeing with me on everything, which is what most men do, because they think it's a chance to get further with a woman. Hey, if I agree with her, I'm going to get further in her eyes. No, it's super healthy to say no to a woman, period, right? And it's super healthy to say, hey, I don't see it the way you do, right? I see it a little different. As long as there's respect there, that is okay. And women want that. They don't want people just...
They want a yes man.
Yeah. Oh, you're just going to agree? Because they're thinking, okay, well, if somebody is really going against us or something, how well can you deal with that circumstance if you can't even stand up to me?
Yeah.
That's what it is. And so, you know, the end all be all, and the reality is, I think, on the topic of hypergamy, on the topic of male female dynamics, on the topic of dating in general, is, man, ultimately going out and dating, you just realize we're all being educated incorrectly. And it's almost, we need like a re-education on everything. Times have changed. The rules have changed for women. They haven't changed for men. Somebody needs to talk about that. We need to educate young men on how to become better, faster, stronger in a climate, in a society where, again, men are considered disposable. We are the disposable sex out of the two, right? We go to war, we die, women remarry, right? We go, we do the hardest jobs. If it happens, if some man gets hurt, no harm, no foul, keep it moving, replace him. But we need to get to a place, specifically in the church, but even in the world, where we are re-educating ourselves on things that we thought we knew to be absolute on, or we were certain and confident of, because things have changed drastically, you know, across the board. So,
man,
Yeah, man.
Good stuff, brother. I appreciate it, man.
No worries,
Thank
brother.
You. Thank you so much for sharing, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, like I said, these talks, man. They just be like, whoo.
Look,
I
hope honestly more people talk about this stuff. Because again, no one person or one people can find this out. Even the gurus out there who preach about it, they need people talking about it, because we need to be either testing and trying these things and or having conversations in our homes how to fix what's going on. And so it's my hope that people are just having more talks about holding the frame as a man, hypergamy, simping. What are these things? And they're starting to look into, like, why do we have a 80% statistic that women initiate divorce? And like, what is going on with men not coming to church, and why are they adverse to church these days? And like, do we all notice that the world blames men for everything and that we shelter women, like, and yeah, there should be some sheltering of women in the right way, right? But are we over coddling to the point now where we've given them everything they need, and we've just created, women who are now so hypergamous, or they prefer so much that is unreasonable, that now men who can't keep pace with that are just being lost by the wayside, So,
man.
Yeah, brother.
Anyway, thank you, brother.
Yeah,
thank
brother.
you for sharing,
no problem,
man.
Bro.
Appreciate us being able to get in here and
absolutely
knock this one out.
Anytime, brother. Anytime, bro. Anytime, brother.
So yeah, man, we'll be in touch, man. Definitely want to have you come back through, and
absolutely, brother. Anytime, bro.
Drop some jewels.
Glad to chop it up. Anytime, brother. I'll be here. So, bro, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man.
Awesome,
right. Bro.